Marcia Lee. Welcome to A Living History of Bronxville. We're here today to talk about what I think is one of the best kept secrets in southern Westchester, and that is the Lawrence Home Care of Westchester. The Lawrence Home Care of Westchester. What in the world is that? Well, tonight we have with us two people, Dr. Mary Guiffra and Laura Fasula, to help explain what this is all about. First, thank you for coming and joining us tonight. And let me explain that Mary is the chairman of Lawrence Home Care Fund. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And she wears many other hats. You're also on the Lawrence Hospital Board. Lawrence
Hospital
right.
Center.
Center these days,
yes,
not board.
Yes.
Okay. And Laura, you are the acting director.
Correct.
Of Lawrence Home Care.
Correct.
Right. Well, and how long have you been the acting director?
Just for the past a little over a month. And before that, I've been the director of patient services for the program since March. So I'm new to the organization.
Right. Maybe what we better begin first off to do is explain what in the world Lawrence Home Care of Westchester is. I mean, all of you know this group, but it's changed its name and had a morphosized in some other ways. So what is the mission of Lawrence Home Care?
I'll give you a little history of the process of the mission.
Thank
just
you,
to
Mary.
Introduce you to, or introduce your audience. Lawrence Home Care of Westchester was founded under a different name. It was called the Public Health Nursing Organization of Eastchester. Right. It was founded in 1933. After the Depression, there were many, many health needs that were going unmet. They were unmet, and particularly children's health. So there were many children, and because of the financial state of the nation at that time, they were not getting suitable health care. So this organization evolved from the community.
And it started right here in Tuckahoe.
Right here in Eastchester. Actually, it began in Eastchester, and so it was Eastchester, Tuckahoe, Bronxville. Mm-hmm. And the idea was to bring health care to children.
Right.
So they would have well baby care. Mothers would bring newborns to the agency, and they do physical assessments, and they would give them their inoculations. In those days, the vaccinations.
This was something back there in 1933,
yes.
Right? Now
yes.
you're a wholly owned subsidiary today of Lawrence Hospital.
Yes.
I just wanted to bring everybody up with you,
right.
So
in
they realize you're closely connected with Lawrence.
In 1933, it was called Public Health Nursing Organization of Eastchester, and it was self-standing, with a board, a community board, and they were responsible. And then in 15 years ago, Janssen Memorial Hospice was founded by Bissy Janssen. She wanted to found it.
Many of us know.
Yes, know of Bissy. And they asked to be part of it was then called Public Health Nursing Organization of Westchester umbrella.
Was the name before Lawrence Home Care of
I'll
Westchester.
give you a little
Are you getting this new name?
So,
you're right.
Public Health is the original name.
Right.
The really family history name.
Right.
And then, so that Janssen became part of then Public Health Nursing Organization of Eastchester in about 15 years ago. And then in 1990, they decided to change the name because, as I say, in those days they would do well baby care, they would make visits for communicable diseases, and communicable diseases were a real problem in those days.
And to think that it isn't today,
right.
Hopefully.
So they decided the work was moving more toward really home health care, kind of like in the old days, the physician who would make home visits. Well, now we have nurses, social workers, and physical therapists, and occupational therapists, and and chaplains, and they will make home visits. So it was then decided to call the organization Home Nursing Association of Westchester.
Right. Maybe we better just skip to it. So when did it become Lawrence Home Care? Just
well,
a few years ago, right?
Well, I just wanted to do one other group that came in 8
Okay.
years ago, the Bereavement Center of Westchester.
Right.
Also wanted to be founded and came under the umbrella of Home Nurse, then second name.
So really
Home
this
Nursing
organization, Lawrence Home Care, is the umbrella organization
Absolutely.
for, and there's Lawrence Home Care the Bereavement Center,
Center
and the
and
Janssen.
Well-
And you are the acting director of all of that,
Correct.
right? And it has a special name, but we're not going to confuse you with any more.
Any more names?
But just remember, the three go together, but this
Correct.
is one piece of
Right.
the important
Right.
three-pronged pie.
Right.
Correct.
And you'll see why it's a pie, because they take care of people at all different stages.
And in 1997, late 1997, this HNAW, we shall call the old group,
Right.
came to Lawrence and asked to be part of the Lawrence family.
The Lawrence
Hospital.
Center.
It was then Lawrence Hospital. It's now Lawrence Hospital Center.
Right, right.
Be part of that family. And so, in fact, I went over there in January 1998 to chair the new board and for this Home Nursing Association, which was now a subsidiary of Lawrence Hospital.
Now, you have quite a background in health and healthcare.
yes.
You were dean.
Yes, I was a dean and what they call founding director of the nursing program, the bachelor's and master's nursing program
At
the
Mount
College of Mount St.
Right.
Vincent. And I was also a professor in the master's and doctoral program at NYU for many years.
And you have your doctorate,
I have a
though,
doctorate,
in
right,
family
right.
family therapy.
Research and theory development.
Right, right.
And I'm
Which
also
could be the whole source of another interview sometime. Okay, but anyway.
right.
Right.
But
They are lucky to have you.
I
chairing
really
this
enjoy
whole
the
thing.
work. It's
Yeah.
immensely. It's such a wonderful mission, and I harken back to those early days with taking care of children and so on. And just a little funny story that I think your audience would
Yeah.
enjoy. In our archives, we have a notation that the Women's Club donated 5 gallons of cod liver oil for the children. So for the children,
Bless them.
because the older folks remember cod liver oil. You probably don't.
Well,
But I remember cod liver oil. Or I shouldn't say that.
I don't think it was too much before.
So that leads to where we are historically.
Yeah.
But the mission really, from our inception, way back in 1933, was to provide high-quality home health care to community members, beginning at birth and going through for children, for adults, middle-aged folks, the early elderly, and the frail elderly. So when and then we go right through that whole process.
And all
then
of this to come to the home and help them out at the
come
home.
into the home
Right.
and bring whatever services are needed will come right
Yeah.
into the home.
Now, Laura, before we move on, I just wanted to give them a little of your background,
Okay.
because you have quite an impressive background, too.
Actually, I have my bachelor's degree in nursing from Lehman College, and I have my master's in public health in healthcare administration from New York Medical College. I've been in the nursing profession for 27 years.
So, and you were previously, just before you came here, you were at the...
I was a vice president for a large nursing department in a community hospital.
Right.
So it is a pleasure. Home health has always been my area of expertise and probably my first love, because I don't think there's anything better than being able to take care of patients in their own home, because that's really where they want to be to recover.
It's certainly a growing concept, if I may say it, and actually far less expensive if you handle it right.
Right.
And, you know, when hospitals were new, everybody was sent to the hospital, but now we realize in terms of really taking care of people,
Absolutely.
back to the home. Well, just to give an idea to everyone of what kind of home care you can give, let me just throw out some diseases or things, and you just tell us. Let's say you had a hip replacement. What do you do there?
After your short stay in the hospital, and usually patients are in the hospital 4 or 5 days after a hip replacement, they can two things. They can either go to short-term rehab or they come directly home with home care. Part of the home care program would be to send the nurse out to evaluate them, to review their medications, how they're managing with pain. And then the physical therapist would come out very, very quickly to make sure that they get the correct exercise program, that they are walking well, and that they really are progressing towards independence, so that we may be able to provide an aid for them if they needed help with bathing and dressing, whatever services they need to manage well at home.
At home. What about, let's say, diabetes? What do you...
A patient with diabetes would probably have a lot more intensive nursing care.
At home.
At home.
Yeah.
And that's because they need to learn about their diet, We teach them how to monitor their blood glucose levels so that there's a small machine they can get instant results as to what their blood sugar is. Then they'll know how to adjust their medication, whether that be insulin injections or oral medications. We spend a lot of time talking with them about their diet and making sure they understand how the foods they eat will interact with their diabetes, how to do very, very good skin and foot care, because many diabetics will develop ulcers because they have decreased sensation in their feet, so that there's a lot to learn. And we work with not only the patient, but their family, so the family understands how to make meals.
That's crucial, isn't it?
Yes,
Working with the whole
it's one of
family.
the components of this organization that I just love, because family is so much a part of my belief system and as a support and as grounding, and no matter what crises occur in life, that somehow the family is the ground to help you to get through it.
Right.
So it's terribly important to support the family.
The whole family,
The
not
whole
just the
family, so
individual.
that they
That's
can be
correct.
there for the client, but for one another and for themselves. So I just think it makes such a difference in the ultimate outcome if you really do focus on the family and how whatever the process is that's going on, the disease or whatever, the dysfunction, how it has impacted on each
On the
member of the family.
Well, I'm going to keep throwing out
Okay.
some things. What about a heart attack or congestive heart failure?
After heart attacks, patients are extremely frightened. They've had a tremendous experience and come close to death, and so that they are really very receptive. And again, they want to learn about their disease process. They need to learn how to cope, how to begin to exercise again within a normal realm. They need much medication instruction, how to monitor their pulse, monitor their weight. Again, diet. We just do
Everything they
all
need.
the teaching that they need.
And at home.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what's wonderful? You know, I've heard it at meetings from time to time that the nurse will go in and assess the person and assess the family.
Right.
And it may be that Mr. Smith has just been discharged from the hospital, and he's the person who they were is identified as the patient. But then when they speak with Mrs. Smith, they see that she has particular health needs that need to be addressed.
Sometimes the caretaker is the one to.
And so it's
yeah.
wonderful.
So true,
that-
to be able to work with both.
Right.
And so many times in that nursing assessment, being able to identify the patient who has early changes. It may be that the patient has eaten more sodium than they should. So you'll begin to see that their feet are swelling and they
Right.
have edema. So we'll be able to contact their physician. So early on, we're able to work with the physician on medication changes so that they don't have to go back to the
Right.
hospital.
What about something as simple as like a broken leg or, like a broken leg?
We see many a teenager
replacements.
who has gone skiing
Yeah.
or played football.
And you go to their
now
home and
we
help
go to
them?
the home.
I bet the parents are delighted to
They
have you
are
there.
delighted because it's a tough age on top of everything else. But again, it's their primary need is for physical therapy, but we want them to be safe when they're ambulating with crutches. And so how we put some limits on them and teach again parents and the teenager to take care of themselves.
And speaking of the teenager, I remember talking about, adolescents when they have diabetes, what a difficult time that is, because, adolescents and the diet
Right.
of choice
Oh,
for that
right,
age group,
right.
and trying to conform and be like one's peers, and how difficult it is
It
with an
is.
adolescent.
It is
Very
very
tough.
difficult.
Yeah.
Very
But
difficult.
again, very key is that they learn how to monitor their blood sugar, how they need to adjust their insulin, so that again, sometimes that they can have those special foods and yet keep their diabetes under
Right.
control.
Now, you were saying earlier that you even took care of Alzheimer's patients.
Yes, we do. Although our funding source is primarily Medicare, and we have to have skilled need, and the patient has to be homebound, but we do go out to families, many families with Alzheimer's disease, and we really work with the family, because the Alzheimer's patient, there's not too much we can do in terms of education generally, but we assess the patients for their level of anxiety. We'll work with their physicians on medication monitoring to decrease some of that anxiety and some of the behavioral issues, and then work with the families on how to keep the patients safe, how to make sure that they have identification on them at all times in case they wander, and then to do some long-term planning.
How long can you stay with, how long are you allowed to stay with should I call them patients? I mean, is this always short-term, or can you go on longer?
We have some patients who have been on our program for many years. Those patients have a special need. They may have a chronic illness in which they have a Foley catheter. They may require B12 injections. So as long as they have a skill need, we can continue for long periods of time for
but
patients.
most of them are short.
Most of our patients
like 60
are
days or something?
less than 60 days
Less than 60
of care.
days. And what is the funding? Can any, well, first of all, you're associated with Lawrence Hospital, so I assume that a lot of times the doctors are the very first people that tell the patients to call you. Is that correct? Is that the hookup there?
And Lawrence Hospital Center, they have a group of case managers. Those are nurses who evaluate all of their patients. They work very closely with the medical staff at the Lawrence Hospital Center to make referrals that are appropriate for the patient. So it may be nursing home placement, but one of their prime referral sources is for home care.
Right, but you don't have to be at Lawrence Hospital or anything.
No,
Anybody
not
can
at
come
all.
to this, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And I think it's important for your viewers to know that they don't have to be in the hospital to access home health care. All they need to do is call. They have to have a medical issue that has gotten worse or is newly diagnosed, but they don't have to be in the hospital in order to get care.
Right. And the Bereavement Center and Jansen and you are all located on Main Street in Tuckahoe,
Correct.
Right? So
We're
Next to the police station.
They're right next to the police
right.
station.
Well, now, let's talk more about this funding service. You were saying earlier that you are certified, and
Yes.
for those of us who don't quite understand it, I know that certified is really important, but I'm not quite as compared to what are other
certified home care, and then there's licensed home care.
So, but you are, now what makes certified so desirable?
Certified is probably the highest level. It's a coordinated home care program that's eligible for federal funding, Medicare, Medicaid funding.
And you have to be certified to be eligible for that, right?
Correct. Correct, for home health care. And then the majority of other insurance providers, HMOs, private insurance, also many of them require a certified home health agency.
And it's pretty demanding to be certified.
Oh,
you
yes.
just came in for a review, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
And I think I read
We've done very well.
What were the results of that review? It's a federal review, right?
We have a federal review. We have basically two accreditation. We are accredited by the Joint Commission of Hospital Healthcare Organizations, JCAHO, and I believe in 1998, we were successfully surveyed with a score of 99.
Right,
Oh,
and then we were again,
99.
no, we also had at 99 again. We had a score of 99 out of a possible 100. And
Well,
so,
if you can't get that one thing fixed,
That's
I don't know how we're ever gonna.
and,
That's very good.
And
That's
they,
very
so
unusual.
it is. It's extremely unusual, and it was called accreditation with commendation.
Oh,
Which
wow,
is,
that's hard to say, but it's
so,
nice
and
to say.
Staff
Yes.
worked very, very hard, and it was a
Right.
period of time. We had just been through the Balanced Budget Act, which was in 1997, and as an outgrowth of the Balanced Budget Act, funds were drastically cut for
Now
home health
let's get in
care.
that, because never before had Lawrence Home Care been out to the community and I understand since you're heading the fund
Fundraising.
that you're going to go do fundraising.
Yes.
What changed? Why
Well,
have you had to do this?
Prior to the Balanced Budget Act, which began in late 1997, we really had a blank check. You know, you would itemize your expenses, and the government
You sent it
would,
into the federal government,
yes, and they would send a
I
check back.
and others out there would pay for it.
Right, right.
As long as it was within reason,
Right.
it was paid.
Right.
Yeah.
But then that changed dramatically, and so,
So
they
you're-
cut funding dramatically, and they cut the reasons they would fund particular conditions and so on. And during that period of time, I would say 98, 99, many home health agencies folded.
Right. They changed the reimbursement
Right.
way of reimbursing you, right?
Totally changed.
So how did it change?
Previously we were reimbursed by visit, so
Yeah.
the more visits you made, you were paid for by the government. Today we are paid by episode, and they define that as a 60-day period of time. And depending upon your level, your type of illness that you have, your level of disability, and if you have a wound and require wound care or rehabilitation, that will change how you score and the reimbursement level that they provide.
And it makes you focus on the success of the patient, right?
That's correct.
Which is new.
Outcomes is the key word for
Outcomes in education, which is
Right.
where I am, has now become the key word.
Exactly.
Is the student really learning? We have to actually
Well,
ask that these days.
and Medicare is saying that to us
Right.
too. Is the patient actually getting better? Have you done
Right.
something of value? And this is like the first time really for home care that we have good outcomes data, and that we are able to compare ourselves with the region, with the nation, to ensure that the services that we provide to our community are quality. And we have excellent results.
So you had to become a lot more efficient.
Oh,
What
yes.
things did you do to make yourself more efficient?
Well, we really had to look at staffing. We had to look at productivity, and
How did you make the nurses more productive, for example? Give me a
Well, we looked at paperwork, tried to streamline as much of their paperwork as we could possibly streamline.
And you're trying to raise funds for laptop computers so they can even
I
make
think
that.
ultimately, as
Yeah.
the technology improves, that's really where we need to do, is to even make them more efficient.
yes.
But looking at how we make assignments so that we keep them geographically clustered.
So that if one nurse lives down here, she
Right.
sees the people down here,
Right.
and doesn't go up
That's
there.
correct.
Well, that was one of the things we found when we really assessed what was going on and really did efficiency studies, if you will. You know,
Right.
we had some consultants assisting us with that, and we realized that a nurse might get, say, 5 clients or 5 patients, and one would be 20 blocks away, another one would be miles and miles away, and it was just such
Spend half her day on the
inefficiency.
road.
So that's it. Their office, very often we say, is their car. You know?
Yeah, right.
But so then we would give the same nurse people in the same locale.
Correct.
And it made a dramatic difference.
So you have really had to become more efficient and
And
more
as-
focused on outcomes.
And
Which
we
is,
need
I
to
think,
look-
it's just admirable.
Yes. And
Although it's been
outcomes-
hard on you, hasn't it?
I think
Yes.
it's been hard for all home
And
health
with the-
agencies to change their thinking in how we provide care. A patient with wound care, before the nurse went on a daily basis, now we're saying, what kinds of new products, there's a lot of new products, can we utilize so that maybe it doesn't have to be changed every single day. Maybe
Right.
every other day is enough. So that I think there's a lot more creativity. We're looking at how we can substitute sometimes a telephone call for a visit to say, gee, Mrs. Jones, have you gotten on your scale today? I want to know how much you weigh. Have you gained fluid weight if you're a cardiac patient? Have you taken your pulse? So doing more so that patients can
Self-monitor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's more and more technology that we, in the future, will be bringing into the home so people can do that self-monitoring.
And it's my understanding the goal is also to sort of teach families how to be more involved with care and to, feel more competent in providing some care once you leave and so on. So that
Absolutely.
educational component is very
Is very
important.
important.
And that's why
You could even teach one member of the family to give the shots.
So
things like that.
many times we do.
You do.
If the patient can't learn themselves, then we involve family members.
That's wonderful. Now, the cost of this, I mean, you've already said that a Medicaid person who has an income that would qualify them for Medicaid would be eligible, and a Medicare person over 65 is eligible. But what do you do? I mean, I assume you handle other people than just those 2 eligibilities. Do you have any help to pay for that from any place else? Or
If the patient has insurance, then
they use regular insurance?
We use their regular insurance, and if they have an HMO, then we work with their HMO to get authorization for
Right.
visits. If they have no insurance, we provide services for them We have a sliding fee scale, and if they're indigent, then we provide charity care.
Yeah.
All home health agencies do a portion of their budget for charity care.
Right. And Mary, that's where you come in. You're leading the troops to try to raise some funds.
Absolutely.
Right.
We really, and we have a wonderful community group, and each member is very dedicated to our mission of providing.
I'm on that group. I should truth and information or something like that. I usually interview people that I'm involved with, but I'll let you know.
And it's really, our mission is providing quality, and you know that quality care is measured with all the evaluations that are done. It's not just talk quality, it's really very carefully monitored. Very quality care, high quality care in a cost-effective manner and throughout the life cycle. So, and to people from who can afford to pay and people who cannot. So our mission is towards the community, but we need funds to do that.
Have you got anything planned? What are you doing so far?
So, well, we have a letter that many of you should be receiving soon.
Just coincidentally?
Just coincidentally. And we hope you're as generous as you can be, because ultimately the service is here for every member of your audience.
Right.
When the time, if the time arises.
In the whole Eastchester,
and
Southern Westchester, Bronxville,
Tuckahoe,
yeah.
Westchester, you know, if they need that.
Yeah.
And we all need various kinds of care at different times, and people feel very lost about getting that care, and maybe they thought they need a person in the home, but perhaps their needs are much more encompassing than that. Right. And we are there to help, even just in assessing needs and providing supplies and services, as well as the many disciplines involved.
Right. Now you have a
providing.
70th, pretty soon,
Yes,
a
we
70th
do.
anniversary coming up, so that's going to be the occasion for a fundraiser.
Next
right?
year we're having a fundraiser in 2002 in September, but in 2003, and please mark it in your calendar, we'll get that date out as soon as possible.
Okay, save that date.
That we're having our 70th anniversary, 70 years of serving this community.
Now that's something.
So we really think that calls for a celebration.
I think so,
So
too.
we are planning it. It's still a secret what we're going to do,
Right,
but
right.
it should be very exciting.
Certainly right. Well, now, just a little bit about the future. I know you have some plans for the future that you would like to do and add to them. Can you share some of those with us?
We haven't spoken about it, but we have an early intervention program, which is really for basically infants 0 to 3 years of age.
So you truly do handle all
Yes.
ages. Now, what do you do for the
For
early
that group,
intervention?
it's those children whose parents feel that they have a developmental delay. Maybe they're not sitting up as well, or speech is not developed as the parents would expect, or the pediatrician is identified. They can get a complete evaluation by a team of professionals, and then we are one of the service providers. And under that program, we're able to provide physical therapy, speech and language pathology, occupational therapy, special education, special instructors who go out into the home, again, and try to provide therapy for these children so that they bring them up to, they reverse those developmental delays.
At an early age when you can really do
Exactly.
something
And
about it.
it's wonderful, because I was speaking with someone just last week. She had adopted a little girl from South America, and the pediatrician identified that they should check because the speech, he didn't feel that child's speech was quite what it needed to be. And it was such a wonderful, the parents were thrilled because the staff from the early intervention program came and taught them what they could do to assist in the child's development, to enhance development, so that by the time that little one goes to school,
They'll be
she'll
all
be right
caught up.
there and all
Absolutely.
caught up, and you don't have to.
And that service is funded by the county, and it's at no cost to parents and the children that we serve.
wonderful?
So that is wonderful. It's a great program, and that's one of the programs that we hope to expand.
Expand. And what else do you plan to do in the future?
We'd like to expand our entire program to the community, and really to be out there and to be available.
And have everybody know what Lawrence
Exactly.
Home Care is.
Right.
Lawrence Home Care of Westchester.
Westchester.
Lawrence Lawrence Home Care of Westchester.
Right. And then the other thing we'd really like to expand is our behavioral health program.
Now, what is that?
That is, we send out into the home nurses with a strong psychiatric background or psychiatric nurse practitioners to actually go into the home and to work with the elderly with depressive issues and mental health problems.
Depression's such a problem.
So they
for the
bring
elderly.
therapy, they actually bring psychotherapy into the home.
Into the house.
And it's
Yeah.
one of the major health problems for the elderly. Depression is a major health problem for the elderly. As many as 30% of elderly are depressed, and they're labeled as physical problems, you know, not being able to sleep and losing appetite and so on, but it's very often depression.
Depression. Right. And there's so many medical treatments in addition to psychotherapy and things like that.
Absolutely. We had a patient who was referred to us whose family thought she was dying. And it turned out that she had a long history of anorexia and depression. And by having the psychiatric nurse go out and evaluate her, work with her physician, and she did well. She improved, she started eating, and the family was amazed that here was somebody who they were saying, gee, please come and evaluate her, give her some short-term home care, but maybe she's a hospice patient. And she improved and was able to continue on and lead a productive life.
Well, the thing that's so important is a person who is often that depressed, particularly an elderly person, going to a therapist's office or a psychiatrist's office can be very threatening. And someone coming to the home feels more organic and natural, and it's much easier to be receptive to the services that you need. It's not so threatening, particularly as people get older.
Right.
You know,
it's pretty threatening
and
even without
Yes, exactly.
So you were mentioning something about using high school students. Now, what is that?
That's one of our goals, to be able to look for high school students who'd like to be volunteers, to give them a brief training program that they could spend some time with the elderly. Many of our elderly patients receive Meals on Wheels, which is a wonderful program in which the meals are delivered to their home. But we'd like to see if we can't link the generations so that they can have some companionship during meal times. Even if it's one time
for
a
both.
week.
Yes, for the high school students as well.
Yes.
Right.
So that's one of our projects for 2002.
That's a wonderful idea. And you mentioned the orthopedic program?
Yes, we're working with the Lawrence Hospital Center. They have what they call joint ventures, which is a joint replacement program for total hips and total knees. And so that we are really working very closely with the Lawrence Hospital Center on supporting that program and putting the rehabilitation services into the home, the full home care program as soon as they get home.
And it's my understanding that the nurse visits the home even before they have the surgery.
We can do that and evaluate what they need for equipment and make sure that they have the kinds of supports that they're going to need to be successful right from
I see. I bet most of you out there had no idea about all these services. And yet I think we all can rest a little better, more peacefully, knowing that Lawrence Home Care is here in the community, and that if we need home care, we can easily pick up the phone, call, and get some.
Right. And folks who have long-term care insurance, a big component of long-term care insurance is home health care.
Is it?
It's keeping the elderly in their homes, and that's what a big component of it is, to be able to fund. You know, Medicare does pay for it, but any other additional services is keeping a person in the home, which is such a wonderful
goal.
Nurturing,
well, that's what
supportive
hospice
goal.
is about, too.
Absolutely.
So,
Same thing.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, Mary and Laura, thank you so much for joining us, and we just are so fortunate to have an organization like this in our community. So
thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you,
and
Marcia.
thank you very much, and thank Peter North, our cameraman and editor, for all that he does. Good night.